So I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of the company Mayflash. They make arcade sticks, controller adapters, and a variety of other devices. And we've covered quite a few of them on my channel in the past. But recently they hit me up asking me, hey, we have this new arcade stick that we have a working sample of that we'd like to send you. You could test it out, give us some, your thoughts, that kind of thing. So I'm going to be doing this video, recording bit by bit over a period of time. But I want to share this arcade stick with you guys. This is the F700 wireless Bluetooth PS5 arcade stick. Now, they're not in mass production yet, so I don't think you're going to be able to order this right away. They're just looking for feedback on this item, and if anything needs to be tweaked, they'll make changes to it. But, I'm pretty confident with these guys. Hopefully this thing works as intended, but you have multiple options: Bluetooth, 2.4 gigahertz, and wired. And it's not just PS5, PS4, PS3, Nintendo Switch, X input, D input. You could use it on your Steam Deck, Mac OS, Android, and on certain retro consoles like Mini Classic Edition consoles, Neo Geo Mini, that kind of thing. But the first thing I noticed when I received this was I do have their F500 Elite, and box-wise, kind of hard to get these in frame. It looks like the 700 may be bigger than this, so I'm going to unbox both of them to check that out. But let's take a look at the back of the box here. Has a bunch of information, all the systems that you could use this with: Sega Genesis Mini, Astro City Mini, Neo Geo Mini, Neo Geo Arcade Stick Pro, PS5, all the stuff that we already mentioned. Then it does go over which connections can be used. So PS5 as an example, you cannot use Bluetooth, but you can use 2.4 gigahertz, which is going to be like a dongle, or USB wired. So while it does say wireless Bluetooth PS5 arcade stick, it doesn't look like you can actually use it Bluetooth on the PS5. So maybe they should change the branding a little bit. The way the box is listed here, because that does seem a little weird. Some people may get their hopes up. I don't know. We'll try it with Bluetooth. Maybe this is just incorrect. Who knows? But there we go. Battery. So you got some battery indicators. Built-in 10,000 milliamp hour lithium ion with 18 hours of playtime on 2.4 gigahertz. Rechargeable with 3.5 hours of charging. So let's get this thing out of the box. I have not messed with this yet at all, but we're going to test it out, use it on a few different systems, some classic edition stuff, Genesis Mini, that kind of thing, and also on some consoles. So there's no manual in here. This is just a working sample. Get all this out of the way, but there's the stick. We got a lot of plastic on here covering up the top piece there. And as you might have just saw that the plastic overlay kind of came up because held on by magnets, but you cannot take it off with the buttons attached. The point of that is, and I showed this with the F500 Elite before, is that you could put artwork and whatnot. But let me get this off real quick. We'll also tear this thing down and take a look at the insides and see how easily it will be to swap components. So there she is, all shiny on the top. But like I said, normally, through certain places, or you could do it yourself, get some artwork printed and put it underneath this top acrylic piece. But I like how that's set up. Look at that. The little slider, PS5, does it click? Yeah, it does. It has a little click to it. PS4, PS3, retro. I like that. Very cool. So these are not like the Elite versions where they use Sanwa. I believe these are their own brand, possibly, but we'll take it apart and double check. You do have a switch there, left stick, D-pad, or right stick for the way the arcade stick actually works. Your selection for 2.4 gigahertz wired or Bluetooth, sync, turbo, share, minus, select, create, touchpad, home, start. Okay, we do have a little plastic there. Let me get that off. Some shininess there. So there that is. Let me get the F500 out and compare the size here. Oh, wait. We actually have headphone port, mute button down there. What did we have on the back? Nothing. And then on the side here, We have our cable, and then, oh nice, they have a little compartment for the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. Very cool. Let's compare sizes. Let's whip it out. Oh, and it did come with this USB-C to USB-A dongle adapter cable thing used on like the Geo Mini, that kind of stuff, or other systems that would require it. So for sure, size-wise, the 700 is bigger. Not drastically bigger, but definitely bigger. It's taller. Is it wider? Maybe slightly. Yes, it's wider. Not by a lot, but it's definitely a slightly bigger stick, as you could see. Try to even it up so you can get an idea. There you go. That might be the best way to represent the size difference between the F500 and the new F700. Is you got about a half an inch, you know, up, half an inch width-wise, you know, there you go. Is it taller? Slightly, maybe a couple millimeters. But let's go ahead and, I'm going to tear this down. We're going to take a look at the insides real quick. Okay, so I've taken the bottom plate off of both of these, actually, the F500 Elite as well, just to kind of compare. The F500 Elite does use Sanwa components, so the buttons and the stick is Sanwa. The stick is using a 5-pin connector, goes from there down to here onto the board. So very simple. There you go. This is going to be very similar, but not quite the same. Not exactly the same, but modability is going to be fairly easy. This stick, this is not an Elite version. I'm sure they would eventually come out with an Elite version with a name brand set of buttons. Like these micro switches on this stick are Lima Electronics, which is a fairly cheap brand, but it seems okay. I just got to test it out. But I did notice like the micro switches on the stick here, all 4 of them, they each have 2 cables going to a 2-pin connector on the board, up, down, left, right. So not a 5-pin connector there. So you're going to have to keep that in mind as far as modability goes, to adapt that to whatever it is you want to use. Can be simple, can be annoying, just really depends on what you want to put in here. They don't have like a 5-pin connector option on here, it looks like. So there is that. I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this, start testing it out. But like if you want to swap the artwork or you want to swap buttons, pretty simple. Like the buttons, you just squeeze the bottom and top, like that's it. Push it through, remove the cables, put your new buttons in there. You put like Sanwas or whatever. The stick, undo the screws, take the ball top off, rewire it how you want type of thing. But if you want to put the artwork on here, you just got to get the ball top, all these buttons out, remove that, and then you can put some artwork underneath. But yeah, let me get this reassembled, start testing it. Okay, so I've been testing this stick out quite a bit lately. First off, I tried it on the PS5 and it works great. We don't have premium components here with the buttons and stick, but I feel like they're good starter buttons and sticks. Like they feel okay, they get the job done. I really didn't have much to complain about. I've used plenty of sticks that have way worse components than this. I think this is fine, but some people may want to, mod it out and change the buttons and stick. And we will do a follow-up video with that in the very near future, showcasing that. And if there's anything else you guys want me to test, drop a comment down below. But, watch the rest of the testing here to make sure I didn't already test it type of thing. But yeah, PS5, it worked great. I played through Mortal Kombat 1 story mode. No issues at all. It just works out the box. There is no Magic S dongle that you need to use or plug in a DualSense controller. The compatibility is built in, but with the PlayStation consoles, there is a caveat, no Bluetooth. You can use this wired or 2.4 gigahertz with the little adapter, and it'll work wireless that way. So I think I'm fine with that, but just keep that in mind. But then things like the Nintendo Switch, it's going to work with all the connection types, wired, Bluetooth, or 2.4 gigahertz. And it works fine, just great. I think that's awesome. Now, I did try it out on some mini consoles. The Geo Mini, I had to use it wired wouldn't work with the 2.4 gigahertz adapter for whatever reason. You put the arcade stick in the retro mode and it should sync up, but it wasn't working for me, but it worked wired. Then moving on to things like the Genesis Mini and Genesis Mini 2, it works wired or with the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. And yeah, it worked great. All the buttons worked as the way they should. So that was really cool. And then I wanted to try it out on the Analog Pocket with the dock. I tried it Bluetooth. I couldn't sync it up. I used X input and it works wired or with the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. X input and all the buttons function just the way that they should. Playing some Super Nintendo games, arcade games. It was awesome. So I'm really digging this stick. It's a very versatile stick. Tons of compatibility without needing any add-ons. I think that's great. But at the same time, I don't know what the price point is going to be on this. I heard from Mayflash through their social media. I saw they mentioned that this stick is going to release sometime late October, possibly early November. So there's still a little time before it comes out. And they usually do release these sticks at a reasonable price. And I would hope they would follow suit with this one as well. But with all the extra compatibility and things they've done with it, I'm really not sure. I want to recommend it, but at the same time, this was just the test version they sent me, not the final version. I think it may be fairly, representative of what the final one's going to be, but you don't know for sure. But at this time, the way it works, I'm digging it. Stay tuned for my follow-up videos on this. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one. Bye.